continuing with this young Labrador now, where very, very basic knowledge. And I think I said before, owners, handlers, new to field sports, new to the gun dog way of training and working their dogs, and want to improve. They want to do better. So fair play to them for wanting to do that. So she's got a very, very basic knowledge. She's got a very, very basic understanding of what we require of her, what we want her to do, and what to do under certain times, or when we've offered her or issued her certain commands. So pieces are starting to fall into place, but we've got a long way to go. All right, it takes years and years and years to have an effective dog, where, you know, and even then people say, cool, how long does it take to train a gun dog? Well, you're doing it until the day they die, because they will always push, they will always test, they will always try and push the boundaries or the rules, or oh, I'll see what happens if I do ignore this stop whistle. They will always be testing you. So if you give them an inch, they're quite very, very rapidly, they will learn to take a mile. So blind retrieves, right. As you can full well imagine, it's a lot easier to get a dog to come back to you than it is to send it away. Now, we can rely on recall whistles, we can rely on high-pitched tones, food, excitable body language, all that kind of stuff to encourage a dog to come back to us. It's a lot harder to encourage or actively send a dog away from us because they've got no reason to do it. Why? Why are you sending me? Why? So to have an effective dog that casts out and away from us, and I'm not talking about just actively runs away from us and does its own thing. What I'm talking about is a dog that is focused and concentrated on a line that you are actively giving it. So to enable a dog to learn the benefits of why is trust. The dog has to trust you in the fact of when you're giving it a direction or when you're giving it a line, that's the reason why it's going. And the reason why it's going is because it has never failed. Every single time you have said to that dog, go back, or put your arm out, or given whatever command or method you use, it has never failed. It has always found something. Sit, sit. It has always found something. That then will build up trust, that then will build up a bond, and that then will build up a solid foundation in the dog's mind and the dog's thought process that, right, okay, I've never been let down, so I'm going to go on this line because I know I'm going to find something. All right, so you've got to have that trust from the dog to actively go out on a straight line away from you. In an ideal world, what we want to do is the dog to go bullet out of a gun straight down the line that you give it, and only stop on 2 occasions. One, when it scents and wins something and finds what you actually want it to pick up and bring back to you. Or 2, it hears your stop whistle. And going back to the fact of why stop whistle is so vitally important. Once your dog has mastered that stop whistle, then your world and his world opens up in so many different places. And you can further your training, you can do more complex things once you have that element of control with the stop whistle. So the second one is the dog goes out on the line, happy as Larry, bullet a gate, but will stop on your stop whistle and then turn around and look at you expecting further handling. So there's 2 reasons why a dog will stop on a cast on a line. Never done this before. We're going to see how this young little girl gets on. Quite clearly, we've only known each other for however many days. It takes so much longer to build up a trust in a dog. So much longer to build up a trust in a dog. But to enable, sit. But to enable me to teach her, to enable me to further her skill level, I need to know what we're dealing with. I need to know actually how good she is. Key things on a blind retrieve is there is no rush. Take your time. That bird out there or that rabbit out there is not moving. If it was pricked and then jumped up and ran off, that's a completely different thing. That's not what we're doing here. We're doing a very, very basic, quite close blind retrieve. She doesn't know it's there. So because of that fact, and we've got the luxury of that thing not moving, we can take our time. we can set her up correctly. We can make sure that her body and her entire frame is set up in the correct way and in the right direction to how we want to send her. There's no point her facing that way but looking this way and then me sending her. Again, we're making it as easy and as simple as we possibly can for her to succeed. We want her to win, to get that trust. All right, so I don't know how she's going to react here. I don't know what she's going to do. So there's a dummy about 15 to 20 meters right out there in front of us. So I'm going to set her up, good girl, and I'm going to capitalize on this focus. Yeah, I'm going to use, as she looks away, I'm going to use this engagement and this focus to build excitement, to build enthusiasm, to build adrenaline. She knows that something's coming because I've stood into her space, Amber. I've stood into her space and she now knows that something is going to happen. All right, I want her to go out there with vigor, energy and all that kind of stuff. It's a fly, leave it, it's a fly. So I'm purposefully holding her to build that excitement. All right, once we've done that, then we stick her arm out and we just give her a simple go back command. Hopefully she'll go out there like a bull at a gate, wins the dummy, pick it up and bring it straight back to me with no issues. Something tells me it's not going to be that simple, but we shall see. So set her up so she's looking down the arm, and she's twitchy already. Right, so this tells me that she's not used to being in this situation. Sit. Good girl. This tells me she doesn't know what's going on. So the arm goes down, wait for her to look forward, Amma, go back, Amma, go back. Okay, so she casts out there, not on a line, but she's winded that dummy nicely. Good girl, good girl. Come on in, bring it in, bring it in, come on in. Good girl, dead. Good girl, sit. Good girl. Not too, sit you. Not too bad. First attempt. Notice there we've changed the dummy from the white one, which was lighter because she was messing around with it and tossing it about. Little bit of a play there, but she's less inclined to do it. So I now know that that is the best way forward, is to use a heavier, different dummy. But that was not too bad. That was actually okay. Stay there. So point, what am I talking about? With a blind retrieve, you've got to have the trust of the dog. Without that, you're wasting your time, because you'll set it up and say go back and it will look at it and go, well, what for? What? So you've got to have that trust. You've got to put that element of faith into her mind. Take your time. There is no rush. It's not going anywhere. Take your time to set the dog up correctly, get the dog in the right frame of mind, and then send it back and cast it back. Start off close, 5 meters, 10 meters. So theoretically on the third footsteps as it's being cast away from you, it's tripping over it. It's all about never letting the dog fail. Once the dog is doing that, then increase the distance, increase the distance, increase the distance. Hey, you're doing all right, mate. You're doing all right. Yes, you are. Off. Good girl.